So the Supreme Court also seeks to enforce something called rule of law. Now, rule of law is a principle under which all persons, institutions, and entities are accountable to the laws. Everyone gets their day in court. Everyone gets their lawyer. It doesn't matter if you're a low-level worker or the United States president. Everyone gets the same rights. Now, in 1963, there was a case where a man named Gideon was accused of a crime. He got arrested and put on trial in the state of Florida. Now, Gideon didn't have enough money to hire his own lawyer, and he brought that up to the state of Florida. The state of Florida did not provide him one. Now, in the Sixth Amendment, you are guaranteed to a right to counsel if you are accused of a crime. So Gideon, having been denied by the state of Florida his Sixth Amendment right to a lawyer, had to defend himself in court. And of course, he didn't win his case and he's going to get arrested. Gideon, while in jail, files a motion to say that his Sixth Amendment was violated and the federal government's going to come down on the state of Florida. The Supreme Court decides for Gideon that he should have been guaranteed a lawyer. All right. You cannot go to trial without a lawyer unless you verbally choose to have one. So that's an example of somebody getting their guaranteed day in court with a lawyer. Now, another more modern example of rule of law that everyone has equal protection under the law is the case of Snyder versus Phelps. Fred Phelps was a pastor at something called the Westboro Baptist Church, and what they were infamous for in the early 2010s was going around to various functions, concerts, political conventions. They even went to funerals, and they would protest against all they saw as sinful in the world. They blamed Jewish people for America's problems. They thought LGBT community members were bringing God's destruction upon them. They basically went around holding up signs, making chants, going on loudspeakers, and being generally obnoxious. This is the nicest sign I could find. They truly thought all the sinning going on in America would lead to its destruction. Well, one of the places they ended up protesting at was a military funeral. Now, you can imagine the last thing military parents want to hear at their son's funeral is God hates a word I can't say for gay people. So they, of course, sue Mr. Phelps for violating their rights. Well, the Supreme Court has to take up the case because they need to decide whether Phelps' speech is protected. Now, I can't post about it here, but trust me when I say that what they're spouting is some of the most vile slander you could hear. But since Americans have the right to free speech under the First Amendment, there wasn't anything the family could do about it. Was the Westboro Baptist Church awful in what they did? Absolutely. Do they have the right to do it? Yes. That's how you see Nazi sympathizers. They're able to wave their flags, and all other sorts of counter protests are allowed to do that because free speech is guaranteed in America. Hate speech, no matter how rotten it is, it's free speech, and it is protected in America. Most other countries in the world have laws against hate speech, but not in America.